This was day 2 of our Mexico trip. Actually, some of this footage towards the end was some of the 3rd day as well. But every time I watch this, I'm kind of bummed because I miss flying at the beach. It was so fun. I wanted to include this because everybody puts their videos on of perfect launches, perfect flights, and perfect landings. And really, that's not the case most of the time for a lot of people. I think I had 3 attempts. So my first attempt, my wing kind of overshot me and messed me up, and so I aborted right away because if it's not right, you have to reset. So I reset and gave it a second time, screwed up, and then the 3rd time was a charm. So that's what this launch is here. You'll hear me rev it up and then pull the wing up, and then I take off. One of the things that really sucks is watching your friends fly around above you while you're stuck on the ground. But eventually I got in the air and it was a blast. I gotta say, this is just a phenomenal view. Flying down at Rocky Point in Mexico is so fun. The water is just crystal blue, and the beach is really wide when the tide goes out. So there's all these spots to take off from and land, and it's just really beautiful. And really miss flying down there. Miss beach flying. You get quite spoiled, honestly. I live at 7,000 feet, so when I take off up here in the mountains, you really got to run it off to get up in the air, because the altitude density is a lot different than flying at sea level. We were heading down the beach towards the north, where actually Rocky Point, as it is the proper Rocky Point, in that whole city area. And there's this big rocky outcrop. Taka and I were flying down to meet some other friends that were taking off further down the beach. We took off from behind our house, and I was so glad to have rented the place that we rented because we could take off right behind our house. It was really awesome. But anyways, we're heading down to meet some other friends and then fly over the marina and eventually fly over another beach, which is a mainstay for a lot of tourists. It's away from our area down on the peninsula, but it was fun to fly over and watch everybody as we were flying over them. So you'll see a couple of our buddies here coming up in a little bit, but Taka's flying off to my left, and we're just heading over to meet them. What's pretty amazing about Rocky Point is how far the tide goes out. As you can see there in this video, the tide goes way out in a lot of areas, and it exposes a lot of reef, or in our case where we were, it exposed a lot of sand so that we could take off and land. But it's pretty amazing to see the tide come in and out so much. I don't think I've ever been to a beach, and I grew up in Hawaii, that has the tide coming in and out so much. I've never been flying down a Rocky Point at any other time of the year except for late March, but from what I understand, if you go down there in September time frame, you can see dolphins in the water. There's a lot of wildlife, whales, things of that nature. I didn't really see any wildlife when we were flying, but you can just see how crystal clear the water is. It's so beautiful. So here you can see one of our buddies that's coming up. They launched from this big sandy area that is way down the beach from where we are, and you can see that hotel way at the end. That's kind of where our house is, but they launched down here, and we decided to come down and meet them while they were launching. They were gonna fly over the marina, but I decided to do some mid wing overs here, so I hope you don't get sick. can see where the cars are right there, where they launched from. It was a really good spot because it was facing the ocean and there was a onshore breeze, so you basically ran downhill just a little bit and it lifted you right off the ground. This is kind of a cool little sequence of video here where the video is being captured by the 360 cool pics that I had mounted on my frame, and then of course my iPhone 7 that I was recording video, and kind of going back and forth. But you know, it's cool to do that stuff and it's fun, but honestly I hate the editing. I don't live for editing, I live for flying. That's why this video has taken so long to get kind of posted online. I gotta admit, I really like this view, like this 360 view kind of. This Coolpix is one that was given to me by a friend that let me borrow it, and it's 720, I think, resolution. From what I've seen on the, not the GoPro, but the Rilo, I think it is, that seems to have some pretty amazing results as far as 360 goes, because then you can truly do a 360 and choose what kind of video you want to focus on and showcase. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to get one of those, but then again, that just means more editing. It's fun to share these flights with people, but sometimes I just like to go out and enjoy flying and not have to worry about videoing, even though I would love to share it with my friends and family. So this beach that we're coming up onto is, I'm not really sure the name of it, but I think it's called Bella Vista, or at least it's in the Bella Vista area of Rocky Point. Good takeoff area right there. I'm always looking for good launch spots. Of course, you have tons of good launch spots down at Rocky Point, really. And this is a big beach, very wide, open area where a lot of people vacation, come down to spend time in the resorts or the hotels. I don't think there's any VRBOs or anything like that down this way. Those are all back a couple miles in the opposite direction. That's where we rented a VRBO. There's about 3 other guys in front of me, and you'll see in the video coming up. I don't think you can really see them in this one, but we just flew along the beach here for a little bit, a little low, a little high. When we got down to these what look like hotels or resorts, I started to feel a little bit of turbulence. Couldn't really understand that because it seemed like the wind was coming onshore, so it almost felt like it was going offshore though, because I felt like I was getting rotors or some turbulence on the side that I was on from these buildings. But we didn't go too far past them. I think we all felt the turbulence and then decided to turn around and go back to where it was smoother skies. I mean, even here, if you're kind of watching the frame and the camera, you can see I'm kind of going through some bumpy air, and I have my trims, I think, yeah, they're all the way out here. So my trims are all the way out. There should be minimal turbulence, at least being able to go through it with my trims out, but I was still experiencing quite a bit of turbulence, and you'll see 2 guys just pass me. They're like, nah, we've had enough. And eventually Taka was the 3rd person. He passed me, and I decided to turn around too. And maybe next time if we go down there, we'll keep going all the way down to the next beach. But on this trip, we made our round, came back around, went down this beach, did some low flying, and came over the marina, which was pretty cool. I have to say I really like the Dudek Report Air. I have a 28 meter wing, and it's really smooth for the most part. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience on all these other wings like the Spider or the Snake or whatever. I think Brian's flying the Snake there, the one in the red, and he was cutting it up pretty good. But I just like the steadiness of it, and I really haven't even broached the capabilities of it yet. I'm still learning quite a bit. But I just like the stability of it, and I also like the versatility of it because you can still do some really sharp wing overs, and there's still a lot of things that I haven't done with it. But it's nice to have a really stable wing. I would recommend the Report Air. I trained on a Universal and then bought a Report Air and have really liked it ever since. Coming up on the arena here, it's really kind of cool to see all these boats crammed into their spaces. I'd never really, it almost kind of looked like a storm had crammed them into the space, but I think that's just how they park them there. But beyond the boats, right over there to the right, is the fish market, which is kind of famous down there. But honestly, it just wasn't my kind of gig. A lot of noise, a lot of loud music, a lot of trinkets and tourists and people peddling things. I just like to go down and relax when I'm on vacation. But if you're ever down there, it's probably something you'd want to at least stop by and see if that's your kind of gig. Coming back now from the marina area back to our original spot where our buddies took off from. Right here you can see, I think that's Steve that's flying by there. And then Paul is on the ground there, kind of grounded. I think he was having a problem with he has a trike or a quad, but I think he was having some engine problems. And so we just kind of flew around a little bit, and like I said, it really kind of sucks to be on the ground watching your friends fly around, so I kind of really felt for Paul. But of course that didn't stop me from having fun. As we were flying down the beach, I noticed Taka was coming over the top of me, so I panned up to film him. It's always really cool to see different perspectives of people flying around you. I guess it always seems like I'm always videotaping everybody else, but it's really cool to see the different perspectives of flying. And not only those people that you're flying around, but just the different perspectives of land. And you know, one thing about Rocky Point is that it's got all these like really posh houses, but right next to a posh house is like a broken down one, and it's kind of like abandoned. It's kind of weird down there in that respect. You don't really expect to see that kind of stuff, but it's almost like they started building and then they decided to stop halfway through. one of my favorite things to do down here at Rocky Point was to fly low. And when you were going with the wind, downwind, man, you just felt like you were trucking. I was probably doing about 40 miles an hour. It's just so fun to get that low and to feel like you're going really fast. And then when you kind of come up a little bit, then it's a little bit slower. But it was just really fun coming down low and flying fast. I really enjoy that. This footage here, you can see that the tide is now starting to come back in, and it comes back in pretty quickly, a lot more quickly than you think it's going to come back in. And then it makes all those wide open areas that were once dry and sandy that you could launch from start to disappear. As a matter of fact, that night I think the water came all the way up to that break wall right there, which is the house that we were renting. Of course, you can see right next to it is a house that looks like it's totally broken down, just like I was talking about before. It's just weird. You have these beautiful homes, and then, you know, just a house or so away is another house that is just unkept. I do want to mention is when you're out paramotoring, especially along the beach, you got to be aware of your surroundings, obviously. But as you'll see coming up here, there was a guy flying a kite, and Taka actually radioed me and warned me. And I had seen him, but it was a good reminder that you just really never know, and you got to watch what's ahead of you. And you can see the kite right there, which would probably be no bueno if I ran into that.
Take me away from home. Show me all the places I've never known, and we'll chase the night, race all of these broken dreams in flight, and we'll fly.